Hey, it's Catherine Barnes again. So now I'm going to talk about the upside to note reading and how it is helpful for me personally. So I've talked before at length about being on the autism spectrum, and for me, short-term memory is a real problem. I forget things very, very quickly unless I'm really, really interested in them and excited about them. And so one of the things that was hard for me when I went to Brazil and I was going to the samba school and working on learning the different bossas or breaks that they play was having to commit them to memory without writing them down. Because I've found that writing things down really helps to reinforce and keep things in my long-term memory. So, it is of course one of those things that improves with practice, but I mean, for me, it's, I think, always going to be an area of struggle. So I'm very grateful to have a tool to help me with that particular difference that I have. Another way that it helps me is seeing the way that things line up. So like, for example, with drum set, it really helps me to have like a visual reference for, okay, this is here, this hand and foot is together here, and then this beat happens in between. And it's so helpful to be able to see that and not just hold it in my head. I will say, just as I'm sure there are musicians who don't read who have probably been shamed by musicians who read, I have been shamed by musicians who are less dependent on the visual than I am. I remember once I was talking about a bossa nova beat with a colleague of mine who was also a drummer, and he was talking about moving the accent on the hi-hat rhythm from the and to the E. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And he told me about this whole exercise. And so I sat down and I wrote it all out, and he laughed at me for that. He's like, why are you writing it out? Because for me, that's the most efficient way to learn it. But then I started to feel embarrassed, and I was like, oh no, I should try to be more like the musicians who don't need to do that. Nonsense. If you need to write it out, write it out. If you don't need to write it out, don't write it out. There's enough room for everybody, I think. Another interesting phenomenon was when I was living in Brazil, I noticed that a lot of the percussionists down there are very good at singing and playing at the same time. And that was not something that came easily to me. So there's this one samba rhythm called the Telekuteku, and it's played by the cavaquinho, the small guitar, and it's also often played by the tamborim, which is that little drum that they use. The way that I learned to sing and play this very syncopated Telekuteku rhythm at the same time was by writing out a song and then writing out the rhythm so I could see how it lined up. But here's the freaky part. I did that once. And after I had done that for one song, I could play that rhythm and sing any song. It was really wacky. So if that's what works for you, do it. Writing can be a very useful tool. It certainly is for me, but it's not for everyone, and it's not universal to all cultures. So as music teachers, let's see if we can't find a way to include everybody. Easier said than done, right? Anyways, thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more of my content, you can visit queenmadmusic.com. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.